The wind was dry and hot. Dust blew across the wasteland like smoke from an old fire. The sun hung heavy above, turning the cracked ground into a pale, lifeless skin. Jack Rayner lived alone on this desert planet. He wasn't a soldier, not a hero. Just a quiet man with a small farm, 2 solar panels, and a stubborn old water tank. Every day he checked his crops, small, brown, and struggling. Every evening he sat on his porch staring into the endless emptiness. Until one morning, something strange appeared in the sky. It looked like a falling star, but it didn't burn red. It shimmered silver, fast, silent, and straight down. Then came the sound. Boom. Far off, a dull shake in the ground. Jack stood quickly, dust rising from his boots. He grabbed his goggles, his long coat, and his old desert bike, and he drove toward the smoke. It took him 30 minutes to reach the crash site. He expected a broken satellite, or maybe a lost cargo pod, but what he found was different. In the middle of a small crater sat a strange metal capsule. It wasn't large, just big enough to hold one person. Its surface was smooth, glowing faintly with blue lines. There were no logos, no numbers, no writing at all, and it wasn't from Earth. Jack stepped closer, his boots crunching on broken stone. Then he heard something, a soft tapping, from inside. His heart jumped. He knelt and brushed sand from the glass window. And there, through the dirty panel, he saw her, a child, alien, tiny. Her skin was pale lavender. Her hair floated like silver threads, and her eyes, they were closed. She looked barely alive. The tapping had stopped. Jack didn't wait. He pulled out his toolkit, hands shaking. The hatch was sealed tight, but after a few minutes of work, he found a way to release the emergency lock. Shh! The door opened with a burst of cool air. The girl tumbled forward into his arms, light, limp, and ice cold. Jack held her gently. Her breathing was weak. She wore a strange suit, almost like soft armor, torn in places. Suddenly, her eyes opened. Bright silver. And for just a second, only a second, they locked with his. Then her lips moved. But no sound came out. She reached up with a trembling hand and touched his chest, right over his heart. Then her arm dropped, unconscious again. Jack stood in the middle of the crater, holding a child, not from his world, not from his kind. And still, he didn't feel fear. He felt something else. Something warm. Like she had chosen him. He carried her to his bike and wrapped her in his long coat. "Hang on," he whispered. "I'm taking you home." The wind picked up as he drove. Behind them, the capsule blinked once, then dimmed, and above them, a satellite hidden high in orbit came to life. Target found, locking coordinates. Back at the farm, Jack laid the girl on his bed and checked her vitals using a basic medical scanner. Heart rate, faint. Temperature, low. Species, unknown. He stared at the screen, then at her. Her chest rose and fell slowly. He brought water to her lips, but she didn't drink. Still, her fingers curled softly, as if holding something in a dream. That night, Jack didn't sleep. He sat in the old chair beside her, watching the stars from his window. He had lived alone for 10 years. He had never seen a ship land this close, never found anyone, human or alien, out here. But now, a little girl from the stars lay in his home, and something in his gut told him this wasn't random, this was the beginning. Far above, in deep space, a dark ship changed course. A signal had been received. The capsule had been opened. The child was awake, and someone was coming. That night, Jack Rayner slept in the chair next to her. The small alien girl lay under a blanket, unmoving. Her skin had color again, soft purple instead of gray. But she hadn't woken. She hadn't moved. Not even once. Jack watched, the stars through his window until his eyes finally closed, and that's when he heard it. A voice. Clear. Soft. Not loud. But deep inside his head. Jack. He snapped awake, but the room was silent. The girl hadn't moved. The wind outside whispered across the dry sand. Jack rubbed his eyes. Maybe he was dreaming. But then it came again. Jack Rayner. You brought me back. This time it was different. Not just a sound, a feeling, like her thoughts were brushing his like water against stone. He looked at the girl. Her lips weren't moving, but in his head she spoke once more. Please, don't let them find me. Jack stood quickly, heart racing. He paced the room, breathing hard. He wasn't a psychic. He wasn't a scientist. He was just a man, a farmer. But now he was hearing thoughts that weren't his own. He turned to her again. I don't know who you are, he whispered, but I'm not giving you up. The air in the room felt warmer, after he said it, almost peaceful. The next morning she opened her eyes. No alarm, no sudden sound. Jack was making tea when he turned, and found her sitting up. She stared at him. He stared back, and then she spoke. This time with real words. You heard me, she said softly. Jack nodded. Yeah, in my dream. I wasn't dreaming, she replied. I was reaching. Jack sat beside her. I don't understand what you are, where you came from. The girl looked down. I don't remember everything, only pieces. Like what? She slowly pointed at her head. I remember voices, needles, cold. Then, your arms, holding me. She paused, and light. Jack tried to keep his voice calm. Do you have a name? The girl closed her eyes. For a long time, nothing. Then, sorry. Jack repeated it. Sorry. She nodded. That's the name, I remember. He smiled. Okay, sorry. I'm Jack. I know. His eyes widened. You know? I saw your name in your thoughts, when you touched me. Jack blinked. You can read my mind? She shook her head. Only feelings. Only if you're close. She touched his arm. I feel safe with you. Jack didn't know what to say. He'd lived in silence for years, and now, a girl from another star had said she felt safe. With him, he felt something stir inside him, like a door he'd kept shut for too long had creaked open. Later that day, Jack let her walk around the house. She moved slowly but curiously, touching old books, smelling fruit, staring at his cracked radio. She stopped at the window and looked up. Jack stood beside her. Looking for something? He asked. She nodded. They're coming. Jack's jaw tightened. Who? The ones who built my capsule, the ones who made me. Her voice became small. They don't want me to feel, or choose, or live free. Jack looked out the window, at the desert stretching forever. Well, he said quietly, they'll have to get through me first. That night, Sari slept peacefully for the first time. But Jack didn't. He sat on his porch, rifle beside him, waiting, watching, worry rising. She had spoken to him without words. She had looked into his thoughts. She had remembered his name. And somehow, he already knew. This girl wasn't just important. She was the center of something much, much bigger. Miles above, hidden satellites tracked movement. Inside a dark control room on a far ship, a tall figure in armor stared at Sari's image. Target has connected to human mind. The bond has begun. Another voice asked, do we engage? The armored figure narrowed his eyes. No, not yet. Let them grow attached. The harder the bond, the deeper the pain when we take her back. The morning sun was soft and pale. Jack Rayner watched as Sari sat near his garden, touching the dry soil with her fingers. She was humming softly, an alien melody he didn't know but somehow liked. She looked calm, but Jack's mind wasn't. He still had too many questions, and he couldn't ignore one strange thing: the glow. Last night, when Sari had fallen asleep again, Jack saw something strange on her back, a small glowing mark right between her shoulder blades. Faint but definitely there, and it pulsed, like it was alive. Now, as Sari picked up a wilted flower, Jack knelt beside her. "I need to ask you something." She turned, her silver hair catching the light. He hesitated. "There's something on your back." Her eyes widened slightly. "You saw it?" Jack nodded. "Last night, a kind of symbol." Sari looked down at the ground, quiet for a moment. Then she whispered, "It's not a scar. It's a code." Inside the house, Jack scanned the mark using his old military tablet. It was small, circular, with strange lines and tiny shapes, like a galaxy map wrapped in letters. The screen beeped, then blinked red. "Warning, classified signal detected. Access requires high-rank authorization. Alert sent." Jack's heart dropped. "Sorry, I think that mark, it just told someone where you are." Her face turned pale. "They can find me through. It's like a leash." Jack shut down the tablet quickly. He looked her in the eye. "We're cutting that leash." They moved to the back of the house. Jack opened his old tool chest, pulled out a signal jammer, rusty, half broken, but maybe enough. He wrapped it in a coil and placed it over Sari's back. The glow flickered. She flinched but didn't cry. Then, the symbol stopped glowing. "Gone." Jack smiled. "That should slow them down." Sari breathed deeply. "Thank you." Just then, the lights in the house blinked. A power surge. Then the old radio on the shelf came to life on its own. It crackled, and a voice spoke through it. "Return the girl, or be erased." Jack's hand reached for his gun. Sari grabbed his sleeve. "They know." He nodded. "Let them come." That night, they moved to the storm shelter. It was deep under the house, originally built to survive sandstorms. Now it was their last line of safety. Jack brought food, blankets, and tools. He gave Sari his old jacket, way too big for her small frame. As she curled up to rest, Jack asked, "What does the mark really mean?" She hesitated. "They call me a key. I don't remember what I opened, but they do." Jack looked at her. "And you? What do you want?" She looked up at him, eyes glowing softly in the dark. "I just want to be free. And stay here. With you." Outside, under the black desert sky, something landed without a sound. A tall figure in armor stepped out from the shadows. Its visor blinked red, its hand held a strange weapon, and its voice, deep and hollow, spoke one word. "Target located. Back." In the shelter, Jack checked the motion sensors. Nothing yet. He sat beside Sari. She leaned against him slowly, like a child unsure if it was allowed. Jack didn't move away. For the first time in years, he felt something more than silence. He felt needed. Then his sensor blinked once. A shape, moving close. Jack stood, gun in hand. He looked down at Sari. "If they come for you, I won't let them take you." She whispered, "They don't understand love. That's why they fear it." He nodded slowly. "Then we give them something to fear." The night was silent, too silent. Jack stood at the shelter's metal door, listening. No wind, no insects, no distant ship engines. Only the sound of Sari breathing softly behind him. Then, a crunch. A single step. Jack's heart raced. He grabbed his rifle and turned off the light. Someone, or something, was outside. Crouched and looked at the sensor screen. One life form, very close, moving slowly. Then two more blips appeared. Jack whispered, "They've found us." Sari stood quietly. Her small hands trembled, but her face was calm. "I knew they'd come." Jack looked at her. Are they dangerous? She nodded. They don't care. Who dies, as long as I go with them. Above, on the surface, the armored hunter scanned the ground. His visor blinked red, heat signatures below. Confirmed. The girl is underground, human with her, primitive weapons. He raised his hand. The soldiers behind him dropped a heavy device onto the sand, a seismic bomb, designed to shake the ground, to force people out. Inside, the walls started to rumble. Dust rained from the ceiling. Jack pulled Sari close and pushed her behind a crate. Then, boom, the shelter shook hard. The lights flickered. The door groaned. "Jack!" Sari cried out. "I'm here," he said, holding her hand tightly. "Just stay down." Another blast came. The door cracked open slightly. Jack aimed his rifle, breathing. "Steady." Then a voice echoed into the shelter, deep and cruel. "You cannot hide her forever. Surrender the girl now." Jack shouted back, "She's not yours." A pause. Then the voice replied, colder this time. "You're not protecting her. You're just delaying her fate." The door opened wider. A dark shape appeared in the doorway. Tall, armored, inhuman. Jack fired. The shot hit the armor. Sparks flew, but the figure didn't fall. He fired again. Still no luck. Then the figure raised a strange weapon, smooth, glowing with red energy. Jack grabbed Sari and rolled behind the support. Beam as the laser ripped through the wall. Metal hissed. Heat burst through the room. Jack turned to her. "I need a way out. Is there anything? A tunnel? A hatch?" Sari pointed to the far corner. "There's a weakness in the wall." "I felt it." Jack blinked. "Felt it?" She nodded. "This ground listens to me." He didn't ask questions. He pulled out a small explosive charge from his gear, placed it on the wall she pointed to, and covered her ears. Boom! The wall opened into an old drain shaft, just enough space to crawl. "Go," he said. "I'll hold them." "No," she cried. "They'll kill you." "I'll catch up. I promise." Sari hesitated, then hugged him tightly. "Don't break your promise." He touched her head. "Never." She disappeared into the shaft. Jack turned to face the attackers. As the hunter stepped into the shelter, Jack fired again. He hit the light panels. Blinding flashes filled the room. Smoke, sparks, shouting, then silence. Jack dove into the shaft, just seconds before the blast behind him crushed the tunnel shut. He crawled through the narrow pipe, dirt in his mouth, gun on his back, and ahead, Sari's glowing eyes guided him. When he reached the end, they both emerged into the open desert night. Jack stood, brushing off sand, his shirt torn. Sari looked up at him. "You came." "Told you I would." They were hunted, but they were free. For now. Far above, the enemy ship scanned again. A voice spoke inside. "Let them run. The longer she's with him, the more complete the bond becomes. And once it's complete, he won't survive the breaking." They ran until their legs could carry no more. By dawn, Jack and Sari had reached an old mining site, long abandoned, half buried by dust and time. Steel beams bent with age, and old cargo crates stood like forgotten tombs. Jack found a quiet corner in the shadows of a wrecked loader. He let Sari rest while he stood watch, one hand on his rifle, the other wiping sweat from his brow. They had escaped, but Jack knew they were only buying time. "Jack," Sari whispered. He turned. She was sitting up now, looking at him with quiet eyes. "There's something inside me." Jack sat beside her. "What do you mean?" She placed her hand on her chest. "I feel it. Like a light. Like a door that's locked." She closed her eyes. "But last night, when you protected me, something started to open." Jack listened, closely. "Back in the shelter, when you said you'd never let them take me," she continued, "that's when I remembered something." "What did you remember?" She looked up at him. Her voice was almost shaking. A planet burning, a sky turning red, and a voice, mine, but older, saying, "I failed." Jack didn't speak. He waited. Sari went on, her words faster now. I don't think I'm just a child, Jack. I think I'm part of something they erased. A living memory, like they put pieces of someone else inside me. She touched his arm gently, and that person saw the end of something big, something important, something terrible. Jack looked into her silver eyes. Can you show me? Sari hesitated. I can try. She held his hand. A soft hum echoed in his ears, and suddenly, he was no longer there. He saw fire, cities in the sky crumbling, tall towers of crystal exploding, alien, ships millions fleeing in every direction, and a voice calm, full of sorrow. We created her to remember. If our race ends, she begins again. She holds the map, she holds the key. Then he saw it, a black hole stretching across the stars. Something was moving inside it. A weapon? A creature? He couldn't tell, but it was coming. And Earth was on its path. Jack gasped and pulled, his hand back. They were both sweating, breathing fast. What was that? He asked. Sari hugged her knees. That's what they tried to erase. That's why they're chasing me. Jack looked around the empty ruins. They want you because you know how to stop it? Sari nodded. Or how to unlock it. Just then, the ground trembled. Dust fell from the steel beams above. Sari's head turned sharply. They're close again. Jack loaded his rifle. Then we need to move. She grabbed his arm. Wait, there's something else. He paused. She walked over to a nearby crate. She placed her palm on it, and it opened. Inside was an old alien tablet glowing faintly. How did you know this was here? Jack asked. I didn't. The memory led me. The tablet lit up, a star map. Dozens of red dots blinking. But only one dot was green. Jack pointed. That's Earth. And those? Sari asked. Jack's voice lowered. Those are planets already lost. The screen changed. An old recording played. An alien woman, older with silver eyes like Sari, spoke in a broken voice. To the one who finds this, we failed to stop it. You must warn the humans. The path leads to them next. The child is our last chance. The screen faded. Sari looked at Jack. I'm not just a child. I'm a message. Jack swallowed hard. Then I'll deliver you, no matter what it takes. High above, inside the hunter's ship, alarms went off. Energy pulse detected. Artifact activated. The masked leader clenched his fist. She's recovering too fast. He's unlocking her. Should we attack? Asked a soldier. The leader shook his head. No, not yet. Let the human believe he's winning. When the time is right, he'll lead us straight to the core. Back at the mine, Jack packed the tablet and handed Sari his canteen. Drink. We move at sunset. Sari held it but didn't drink yet. Jack? She said softly. He looked at her. I'm scared. He knelt beside her. Me too. But you're not alone. She leaned her head against his shoulder and whispered, Thank you for not giving me away, even when you didn't know what I was. Jack smiled. I don't care what you are. You're someone, and someone always deserves to be saved. Jack and Sari left the old mine before sunset. They walked across the quiet desert, the sky turning red behind them. The world felt too still. Every sound, each step, each gust of wind echoed louder than it should. Jack kept one hand on his weapon. The other stayed close to Sari. They were heading toward the old signal tower, abandoned years ago but still tall enough to send a message off-world. Jack had one goal now: warn Earth. Sari walked beside him in silence. She didn't ask questions. She didn't complain, but her eyes watched the horizon, alert. Every few steps she looked up at him, like she was making sure he was still there. Jack noticed, and every time she looked at him, he nodded. I'm here, he said softly. I'm not going anywhere. They reached the edge of a broken canyon just after dark. They took shelter in the rocks, lighting a small fire between the stones. Jack pulled out a can of old protein paste. He handed it to her with a smile. Not tasty, but it works. She opened, it carefully sniffed it and took a bite. Her nose wrinkled. Jack laughed for the first time in days. You'll get used to it. After they ate, Sari looked up at the stars. I can feel them, you know, she said. Who? Jack asked. The hunters. The ones following us. They're not far. Jack's smile faded. Then we stay quiet. We move fast. No more stops. She nodded. Then she whispered, They won't stop until they break you. Jack frowned. Me? She looked at him. They don't just want me back. They want to hurt you. Because they know I care. Jack turned away. His voice was low, serious. I've lost people before, Sari. Friends, family. But I won't lose you. Sari's small hand reached out and touched his. Her skin was warm. Her voice was softer than ever. I don't want to lose you either. The next day they reached the signal tower. It stood like a skeleton. Tall, rusted, and full of holes. Jack scanned the area. No movement, no traps. He climbed the ladder while Sari waited below. At the top, he opened the old control panel. Dust and insects poured out, but the power light blinked once. Still alive. Barely. He inserted the tablet Sari had recovered. It lit up instantly. The screen glowed. Message ready. Enter warning. Jack took a deep breath. He spoke clearly. This is Jack Rayner. I'm on Colony World Delta 9. I found a living memory, an alien child named Sari. She carries information about a galactic threat. Earth is in danger, you need to prepare. The signal uploaded, 30%, 60%, 89%. Then, blam! The tower shook violently, an explosion below. Jack looked down. Sari was gone. Smoke and dust rose from the base of the tower. Jack slid down the ladder. In seconds, rifle in hand. At the bottom, the fire burned. The signal dish had exploded. He looked around wildly. Sari! No answer. Then a voice from the smoke. She's not yours. Jack turned, eyes wide. A tall hunter stepped forward, dragging Sari by one arm. She was struggling, kicking, crying out. Jack raised his weapon. The hunter didn't flinch. You bonded with her, the hunter said. That was your mistake. Jack didn't blink. Let her go. The hunter's grip tightened. She belongs to us. Jack stepped forward. Then take me too. The hunter tilted his head. Gladly. But in that moment, Sari's hands glowed. Bright. Blinding. She broke the hunter's grip and blasted him backward. Jack ran and caught her before she fell, her eyes fluttered, full of pain. You said you wouldn't let them take me. Jack held her tight. I meant it. He looked at the fallen hunter, still moving, then at the broken tower. The message had sent. He didn't know if anyone had heard it. But for now, they were still together. That night, as Jack cleaned her wound, Sari asked, Why are you still here? After all this? Jack looked at her with tired eyes and a soft smile. Because somewhere along the way, I stopped seeing you as a mission. She blinked. I started seeing you as family. Her eyes watered. She whispered, Then I'll protect you too. The last stars were fading when Jack and Sari reached the ridge. From there, they could see the landing zone, an old Earth shuttle pad built into the stone. It hadn't been used in years, but it was still strong, still waiting. Just like Jack had waited for someone and didn't even know who until her. Now their message was sent. Reinforcements could come any day, but time was almost gone. Behind them, the hunters would arrive soon, and in front of them, only one ship remained. A long-lost emergency cruiser half buried in sand. Broken. Abandoned. Just like Sari had been. They stood together on the ridge. Jack checked the controls inside the old ship. Still enough fuel, he muttered. But not for both of us to make it. Sari looked at him. I can fly it. Jack turned fast. No, you're just a kid. Smiled sadly. I'm not just a kid, not anymore. He stepped closer. There has to be another way. She placed her palm on the ship's console. It lit up instantly. I was made for this, she whispered. Jack shook his head. No. You were made to live. In the distance, black dots appeared. The hunters were coming. Fast. Sari turned to him. You gave me something they couldn't create. What? He asked. She touched his heart. Love. Tears burned in Jack's eyes. He clenched his jaw, trying to speak, but couldn't. Sari stepped close, small arms wrapping around him. I'll come back, she said. I promise. Jack held her tight. Then, in a voice barely louder than the wind, she whispered, Thank you, Dad. He froze. No one had called him that in years. Not since the war. Not since the child he'd lost. That one word shattered something inside him. She pulled away, smiling gently, then climbed into the ship. The engines rumbled. The air grew hot. Jack backed away, eyes fixed on the girl. His girl, who now carried the hope of two worlds. The hunters crested the hill, but stopped. They saw the light from the ship, felt the pulse of her power. They didn't fire. They only watched as the ship lifted off and vanished into the sky. The silence after was sharp. Jack fell to his knees in the sand, staring up. He didn't know where she would go, or what she would face, but he knew one thing. She had chosen her path, and he had given her the strength to walk it. Far above, in orbit, Earth's defense ships received a signal. Warning received. Survivor en route. Class, living memory. Priority, max. Weeks passed. Jack repaired the comms tower. Every day he listened to the static, hoping for her voice. Then, one night, the screen blinked. Incoming message. He opened it. Sari's face appeared, tired, smiling, glowing. Dad, Earth believes me now. They're preparing. I miss you. I'll come home soon. Jack wiped his eyes, laughing through tears. The world had nearly ended, and all it took to save it was a girl no one wanted, and one man who chose to love her anyway.